Hi, and welcome to Federal Appraisal LLC's video series. In this video, we'll discuss the various dates used in an appraisal. Appraisals typically contain several dates, each indicating different things. The three most common of these are the report date, the inspection date, and the appraisal date. The first two dates, the report date and the inspection date, are fairly straightforward. The report date is the date an appraisal report, or an appraisal, is delivered, published, or released to the appraisal client. Remember that an appraisal may be a written document or an oral presentation. The Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice, USPAP, have strict requirements concerning the reporting and memorialization of report dates and appraisal dates, even for oral appraisals. Basically, USPAP requires that all appraisals and appraisal opinions be dated, and that the date be memorialized in the documents delivered to the client and in the appraiser's work file. The inspection date is the date the appraiser physically inspected the property or asset. Of course, if no inspection is conducted, there will be no inspection date reported. There could also be multiple inspection dates. Interestingly, USPAP requires a statement about whether the appraiser inspected the property or not, but does not require reporting the inspection date. Nonetheless, most appraisers report the date of the inspection. The appraisal date can be a little more complicated. Appraisals can have three types of appraisal dates: retrospective, current, or prospective. Think of an appraisal as an opinion of value as of a specific point in time. This point in time is the appraisal date, and identifying the appraisal date is important because values often change over time. A report with a valuation date from 10 years ago, or even only 1 year ago, would likely contain a value that would be different from the value today. Imagine a property that suffered from a fire on July 5, 2017. An appraisal on July 1, 2017 will likely be substantially different from an appraisal on July 6, 2017. A retrospective appraisal would provide an opinion of value as of some historical date relative to the report date. A retrospective value opinion is frequently sought in connection with appraisals for estate tax, condemnation, property tax, damages, or when an historical event causes a need for an opinion of value as of that date. A prospective appraisal would provide an opinion of value as of some future date relative to the report date. A prospective value opinion is most frequently sought in connection with real estate projects that are proposed, under construction, or under conversion to a new use. A prospective value is frequently sought for by developers and investors for investment planning purposes. Prospective values are also often requested for properties that have not yet achieved a stabilized, long-term level of occupancy at the time the appraisal report is written. A current appraisal date is as of now. It is often the same date the appraiser inspected the property. Most appraisals require current valuation dates. USPAP requires clear reporting on the type of appraisal date. Interestingly, USPAP does not define when an appraisal date is sufficiently remote from the report date as to require a label as either retrospective or prospective. In some cases, it may be advisable to make a distinction based on whether the value would be significantly different as of the report date compared to the appraisal date. In the case of the property that suffered a fire a week prior to the report date, it would only seem prudent to report that a value with an appraisal date of last month is not current, that it is a retrospective value, a value as of a retrospective date, and that the value since the fire is in a different category than the value from any valuation date prior to the fire. In addition to these various dates, appraisals also contain a number of reported ranges of time, including marketing time, exposure time, and data validity parameters. Marketing time is defined as the time it takes an asset to sell on the market after the date of listing or initial offering at a reasonable price. Exposure time is the amount of time that would be expected for an asset to be on the market prior to the date of appraisal, the value conclusion, and the other appraisal assumptions and conditions therein. These concepts are important since market value assumes a reasonable exposure time. Abbreviated marketing or exposure times, such as liquidation sales, auctions, or sheriff sales, may affect the sale price of a property or asset. For For these reasons, USPAP requires that an opinion of the exposure time be included in every appraisal. The next topic concerning dates in an appraisal relates to data validity parameters. Given a specific date of appraisal, best appraisal practice sets limits on the age of data that can be credibly and reliably utilized in that appraisal. For example, comparable sales with sale dates of 10 years before the appraisal date are rarely considered to be useful data. The determination of date and time limits for valid data is made based on the nature and condition of the subject asset and its industry, market area, and time. As the type of asset and/or its industry or market area change, data that was once considered to be probative to value may be considered to be inappropriate. A good example of this considers the stock market crash in 2008 and the collapse of Lehman Brothers, and how those events impacted office building values in the Wall Street area around that time. If an appraisal of a Wall Street office tower has an appraisal date of 2009, it would likely be problematic to utilize sales and rental data from 2006. This is not to say all such data is prohibited, but that best appraisal practice requires the appraiser to judge the validity of the data after consideration of the practicality of making realistic adjustments for the effects of time on the aging data and of the potential availability of more useful data. The last topic pertains to data that was not available until after the appraisal date. There is a general prohibition on the use of data in an appraisal that did not exist prior to the appraisal date. Appraisers should only utilize data that was known or knowable as of the appraisal date. For example, for a 2017 appraisal, comparable sales or income data from 2018, which did not occur until after the appraisal date, should not be utilized in the appraisal. On the other hand, consider a comparable sale that sold in May of 2017, but for which the deed was not recorded until September of 2017. For a July 2017 appraisal date, while the details about the sale were not yet known because the deed was not yet recorded, an appraiser may be justified in utilizing that sale in their sales comparison approach, because that sale actually closed prior to the appraisal date and could have ostensibly been knowable by means other than the recording of the deed. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video.